Meeting will come to order. This is a meeting of the Lakeville Conservation Commission. Today is January 10th, 2023. My name is Bob Bouchard. I am the agent. And I will ask the commission to identify themselves. We'll start on this end for a change.
John LeBlanc,
Josh Verity.
Mark Knox,
Joseph Chamberlain.
Nancy Yates.
Okay. And I'm advising everyone that this is being recorded.
By LakeCAM.
By LakeCAM. Thank you. Did you get a plug for that? All right, let's move on. We don't have a very big agenda tonight. First is Staple Shore Road, which was a continuance and will continue to be a continuance at the request of the applicant. So if someone would like to make a motion.
So moved.
second.
What's the date and time specific?
Oh, that's right.
It's going to be the first weekend in February. I think it's
Weekend, we're not meeting on weekends.
The first, not weekend,
Unless you're
14th?
hosting a barbecue.
The second,
14th.
the 14th, okay, yeah.
February 14th?
Yeah, the second Tuesday
We're
of the
not
month.
meeting again in January?
No, we're not
14th.
meeting on the
They don't
24th
want
because
to.
first of all, we don't have anything scheduled
Oh, okay.
and I'm not available anyway.
Okay.
So we figured we'd just,
We all know what special day that is.
soon.
So to be clear, the Conservation Commission is not meeting on January 24th.
That's correct.
So our next scheduled meeting and the date of this continuance is February 14th.
Right.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Just so we're all clear on that.
All right.
So we have a motion and a second with a date and time specific.
All right. Any other discussion? Just a question, Nancy, have you heard from them at all?
No, but when I saw that it was continued, I was gonna call Tricia to see what Middleborough did, but they probably continued Middleborough too.
I think
but-
so.
But I'll check with her anyway to see if
Actually,
they,
I think Lori spoke with
Tricia?
them, no, the time bond people. But, all right. All right, so we have a motion. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, next. Let's see, who should we call on next? Good evening.
Good evening. Am I up?
Yes.
All right.
All yours.
Sinette, Zenith Consulting Engineers. Good evening, everybody. We have filed for permission to install a drainage pipe. This is 415 Millennium Circle. To get your bearings straight here, Route 44, Mucky's Liquor Store, and what is it, Sada?
Pet food, P&P Pet
Yeah.
Food.
Yep, P&P Pet Foods right in front, to the side here. There's, East Coast Fitness Gym or whatever the gym was over in here.
Oh, so that's part of the
This
little
is
industrial
in-
park.
It is, this is when you pull down, this is gonna be the first building that faces the actual Millennium Circle on the
Yeah.
right-hand side.
Okay.
So just, over here was the gym.
Yep.
Anyways, they're actually actively doing construction if you drove by. I know Bob and I met out on the site. The work that they've been doing is out of the buffer zone, septic repair, which they've done, that's up in this vicinity here. And we've been in front of planning board, as Mark can attest, we're continued until the, meeting later on this month. But we do have this limited, work that's happening in the, buffer zone and also in endangered species habitat. So we filed with the commission, we also filed with Natural Heritage. Natural Heritage, I'm sure Bob got the letter back.
Yeah, there's a letter in there.
Yep, determined it was not a take, which was pretty easy for him on that. That's a very small project. And then DEP, I've had a little bit of correspondence. They did issue a DEP file number yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yep, so we did get lucky. So they issued the file number. There was no comments on the application itself. They had a hard time receiving because they don't take paper copies anymore, so everything has to be emailed. But the size of the files are massive, so they don't always go through. And so they were emailing to try to get parts of it that for some reason didn't go through their system. So anyways, they gave us a file number. They didn't have any issue with the application itself. As I had explained to Mark and the planning board, this is hopefully phase one of a two-phase process. The second phase, if things go as planned, this is gonna be a marijuana grow facility. They're gonna be looking to add onto the building if things go well, to the back. And then putting more air handlers along the side, and we'll have to, put the roadway around back, added parking and stuff. If we do go that, if that does happen with phase 2, which my client is thinking within the next year, will be the case, we'll be in front of the commission with a notice of intent and much more substantial plans. Under that proposal, we'll have a large underground drainage infiltration structure, which I'm sure will need to be sent out by planning board for review, hoping that if we do that, the conservation will hop on, and kind of, accept the review that the planning board has done on the drainage. But that's the long-term view. The short-term view realistically is we're just looking to do some work, back over in here for this drainage pipe.
What kind of work do you?
It's to install, it's a 12-inch pipe with a riprap apron. Basically what's happened is, to get the grade, right now, if you were to have gone out there before they ripped up the asphalt over here, you would see that they had ponding problems. It was less than 0.5% in pitch across it, which is unacceptable for pavement. And so what we had to do trying to get it to work was we brought it to, I think it's 0.8%, which is still flat,
Yeah.
but works. And we had to put a catch basin here because we were maintaining the access for these people back here as well. So that created a low spot that used to get over to here is now over here. And so we had to put in, what we did was, this is a storm scepter unit, so it takes it and cleans it and treats it and then discharges it.
Okay. And you're tearing up a paved surface somewhere and putting in riprap, right?
That's right.
That's gone out there.
Yep, here and here, actually, yeah.
That's outside the buffer
It,
zone, right?
it is, it's outside the buffer, but it's a good note, yeah, it's part of phase 2, that's gonna connect in with the asphalt. Under phase 2, we're gonna be looking for the density bonuses and doing the architectural and landscaping improvements as required under zoning and planning regs. So that will work into it, but this works, well for what we need now.
So I have a question, Mr. Chair, if I could.
Go ahead.
So the drainage way that you're putting in now, tied into, I'm assuming, some sort of a catch basin to take the water out of that low spot.
Yep.
Will that be able to be utilized with phase 2?
So this catch basin here, yes. The catch basin, the existing one that's over here somewhere now is no, it's gonna be in the foundation, so that'll get ripped out. And we actually have all new drainage going all around the building.
But we'll have to reroute to an infiltration basin
Almost
For
everything,
what's-
yeah.
going out now through this drainage way. That'll be rerouted and kind of re-infiltrated in a different manner
I
on
don't-
phase 2?
I'm not sure that the new pipe that we're putting out is gonna be rerouted. I think that pretty much everything else will be.
Will that be turned into an overflow, or that would just be left separate and then everything else new will
Exactly.
be?
Yeah, we'll be
Part of it.
taking the roofs and infiltrating them, and we'll be taking the asphalt and also treating it and infiltrating it as well. We have really nice rapid infiltrating soils on site. And the water table is very low. As you can probably tell by the contours here, we're in nice sands and gravels, so the water table's very low. So we'll utilize that.
So my point being, or the question, I guess, is you won't have to, or will you have to re-excavate this drainage way on phase 2? You
No.
won't have to. It's
No,
gonna stay in place.
exactly.
and-
Yep. The only thing that we may do, in the future is, let me see. No, I don't even think we will. So, what we did was, we try to come up, every time you think of drainage, we try to think of a thing called fail-safe. If it fails.
If it can
what-
go wrong, it will.
Exactly. And what's gonna happen when what we do is we try to take and pretend we're throwing a cover over the top of the catch basin. All right, so now it starts filling up that little depression. Where does it go? So the only thing that we have talked about is, once that building, this large building goes in, our fail-safe will kind of block up and start ponding up in here. So we're gonna put in, a culvert here as an extra with a flared end head wall, so that it won't be able to have a vertical, something that gets on top of it and stops it from flowing. So if this catch basin was to ever break or get clogged or whatever, then that flared end that we're gonna put in the future into the next proposal will be able to function and save it from backing up towards the building. both let them
carry it in a
park
similar fashion to the wetlands, but just
Correct.
as a second means of,
It should see no
passage.
flow unless there's an issue. Yep,
Been watching the flooding in California.
yes, pretty crazy.
It's not everything they have available that they thought would handle stuff like this.
Yeah,
Mr.
Chair?
Wood, go ahead.
In the upper right-hand corner, is that where you say you're gonna dig up the asphalt that,
yes, this, all this hatched, that looks like it's kind of cross-hatched, Nancy. So
Yep.
all in here, up in here, and then down over in here, and even a stretch up in here. We're gonna
Okay.
take and,
I only am concerned about that upper corner
okay,
and how you're gonna define the limit of work.
well, it's just the asphalt, it's gravel beyond it. So we're gonna rip up that asphalt there and pull
Yep.
it back, and what we'll do is we'll mark out this demarcation of where the existing asphalt's to stay.
All right, because the 200-foot comes for the riverfront comes right close to that right there.
It does, yeah, and as, I don't know if you've probably been out there too. Bob and I, when we were out there, it's gravel, they drive tractor trailers on it right now. But you're right, what they'll do is, cause it's the existing asphalt, they'll saw cut it, and they'll take and they're gonna rip
Pull
that
it back.
asphalt up. Yep, and then the goal is to put crushed stone down.
Back in the same place.
Yep, that way it's permeable and low maintenance as
So
far as-
will there be something like, not a 2x4, but some kind of something to hold it in, or it's just gonna stay laying there because it could creep the other way?
You mean
Or
towards-
nobody's gonna be driving there?
Well, people will be driving on the asphalt, that's for sure.
Right.
You're asking if this is
Yeah,
gonna
that's
start
what I'm
mitigating?
only concerned about that corner because it's closest to the resource area and how you define, when you put gravel down, it travels around.
Sure.
Is that gravel designed to be driven on, or is it gonna be large enough, like, 5-pound riprap? that
Oh, no,
you
no.
want to drive on it?
If you needed to drive on it, you absolutely could. It's not the goal of it. Right now, the gravel, we're talking about crushed stone, not gravel, so like
Crushed
landscaping
stone.
stone, or mulch, was the
Well,
intention.
mulch really washes.
Yeah, and so, and I think the planning board asked if we could look at crushed stone as, they like the idea of it.
What's north of that, hashed area? What kind of material is above it?
Well, you've got,
That it's gonna buffer?
in this direction, you've got woodlands.
Oh, even just
Right here, this is
inside
all,
your property line, right?
that's all gravel. Yeah, it's all gravel that they.
and it's
tractor
very
trailers on.
flat there.
Very flat up top there.
There's about a foot of pitch over 20 or 30 feet there, it looks
Yeah,
like.
maybe, yeah, it's pancake flat.
And where are all those trailers that we saw that were
Yeah,
parked
they're
there?
all.
They're all
Oh, on
over
that
there.
side.
Yeah,
All right.
and they wrap all the way around, yeah.
Where are they gonna go?
Those aren't, oh, you mean the ones on the backside? These are over here.
On the backside?
So the tenant that's in the building
Mhm.
is not gonna be there anymore.
Oh, so, all right.
Yeah, so the Cannabis Commission is very specific on who can have access around, product and everything else. So this will be a fully gated site. They've got a slide gate here, there'll be a gate here. gate over there.
35-foot gate I saw?
35 foot.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, 35 feet. I'm thinking to myself, how big, what size vehicle do you guys have coming through there?
Yeah, it's probably because it's double lane, just for the trucks.
And fire trucks,
Yep. So,
everybody else.
And the question I always ask on a commercial development, where are you gonna pile the snow that you plow?
sure. Well, now we have some landscape areas that we can push it to.
Put right on top the,
But realistically, this is all wide open gravel parking
Yeah.
area right now. So I mean, if they needed to push it back there, they've got tons and tons of room.
It's really the future phase 2, and you'll have to really think about it.
And we'll have a plan that shows that. That's part of what your review engineer will make us demonstrate.
I'm sure your client will be dealing with this, it's not your area, and it's not ours either, but there's a lot of questions in the past 6 months about air quality
Sure.
in the vicinity of Grove.
Yeah, sure, the odor control, no
It's
question.
much worse than odor control, it's, actually causing deaths.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, it's the people who work with the product, no matter how they're gloved up and masked, they have a problem. And whatever excess heat is being vented carries fine particles with it, it's particularly injurious to kids.
Really?
Because these things are all in commercial areas, so there shouldn't be too many people around, but if somebody's downwind from the thing,
Interesting.
Anyway, not our concern.
I do know that, Mark, as being on the planning board, they've asked for us to, go over the odor and air issue at the next meeting, which,
I think, and a butter came in and had concerns at the public hearing.
okay.
The initial one, I think, was
Yeah,
one of
actually,
the
yeah, I think you're
reasons.
right, yep. So and it makes sense. We went over it with the zoning board originally when we had to, and we actually brought in the people that were handling it, and they brought in their chemicals and the treatment and everything, and, that was back, Don Foster was, you know, on the board, they were impressed, but, it's been a couple of years, so it'll be good to show the planning.
There are residential abutters to this?
So you've
I'm
got,
trying to figure out where they might be
well, you've got PMP Pet, which,
on that side.
Yeah.
And there's a house associated with.
I don't know if it's actually a house or not anymore used as one, but it could be. But that would, to me, that's the only one that I could even
Yeah,
think of.
yeah.
So,
There's no questions.
I'm good.
Any other questions then?
Nope.
I guess we're good then. So do I hear a motion?
Make a motion that we close the hearing and issue our standard order of conditions for construction.
Second.
Discussion?
Or for a notice of intent.
Well, that's the only one we have orders of conditions for, is the only one, right? We don't have orders of conditions.
Just feel like you
for
should say
non-design.
it, say what it's for in the motion.
Okay.
Is it, I'm,
For 415 Millennium Circle, notice of intent.
Okay,
you seconded it,
we
John?
seconded, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
thank you.
Good luck.
Oh, thank you. Do you guys need me for the fees?
No, I kind of was just joking.
I don't wanna hear you whine.
I'm not gonna lie.
You can stay if you'd like.
I mean, the town's
You
fees
could, you could like
are reasonable.
posthumously try to complain about them, or
It's like, thank you.
pound your fist on the table a little bit about this. These fees are killing us.
All right, first of all,
Okay.
have a good night.
Good night, James.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah,
What brought up the fee schedule
Dr.
discussion?
Lori,
Pardon?
Dr. Lori,
It was her idea?
yeah.
Okay. And,
Might be just, the planning board did it not long ago. We found that we were out of date with a lot of other communities on our fees.
okay,
So we reviewed them and maybe she just saw that, you know.
Yeah, or I think while taking minutes or whatever. And she thought, she looked over what our schedule was and what other towns. And we're on the low end, so she just questioned whether or not it was time to up. Remember what we went through the last time we changed the fee schedule?
Yeah.
That was like pulling teeth, it was.
You're taking the food out of the children's mouth.
Well, I thought it was good. I saw in my email that she did a comparison of like 5 different towns. You can
Mhm.
kind of see where all the other towns were at. And we can just compare it to Lakeville and just say, do we think we should be higher or lower?
Yeah,
okay, well, I take issue with the fact of, we never used the money.
we never use, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Right.
Why would we need to raise our fees when we have plenty of money in there for anything we might wanna do, which we never do?
Where does the
I
money
mean, I'd
go?
like to see what we have in that account over the last how many years, because it doesn't go away. That
So-
conservation money doesn't go into the general fund, it adds up, so I'd like to see from Todd what we have.
So it doesn't go into our budget, our operating budget?
No,
So where does it go?
it can't go into, you can't use fees for our operating budget.
Okay.
You could use fees to hire a peer reviewer, which we don't need to because we
Because
passed
they pay.
Right.
chapter
we passed the cost
53,
fund.
44, or 44, 53G.
53G, yep.
Thank you. So that goes on the, applicant. So,
So no one uses this money?
well, I've been complaining for a while about training, to bring some training here to us. And,
But that's not on the agenda.
but it is about, if you're talking about what we use the money for.
Yeah.
That's what we use it for.
Well, that's the
Well,
whole purpose. is
No,
to-
we don't have to, because if we have it here, we don't have to pay. Lakeville doesn't have to pay, they have people come from the surrounding areas.
So why do
they-
we charge fees?
What are the acceptable uses of the money?
Right, well, that's what I'd like to
Cash out?
That's what we need
look
to-
at again.
Yeah.
Sign it?
No, I didn't, because I'm
Not,
talking.
not
I keep
tonight,
talking
but
signs.
it's food for thought.
Pardon?
I said, not tonight, but it's food for thought, what we think.
Well, I'd like to, if we're gonna, I mean, we can discuss raising the fees, but I'd like to see what we have already, what we've used it for in the past, and why we would wanna do that to our citizens.
Publications and information and training for board members are some of the uses, I believe, that can be used.
Yeah, like I wanna
Sounds
redo
right,
that,
yeah.
the pamphlet, you know the pamphlet I wanna
Oh.
redo that I made years ago
Yeah, as a
about,
matter of fact, I got one of those sitting on my desk and I forget to bring it down.
It's
The
a
little-
lorry.
The little one, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it looks like we're probably the lowest of everybody.
Pretty much, yeah.
I would agree with that.
How do you have a handle on what Waham's charging?
Yep,
Big money?
they just increased their fees in November. Looking at them compared to these, definitely less than Dartmouth. Dartmouth seems like they're out of touch. Carver looks like they're out of touch too. For example, for COCs in Wareham, we charge 75 for residents and 200 for commercial.
And for what I see in the Wareham paper, it's a fairly busy commission.
Yeah, so where are we at with notice of intent? We're under 1,000 still, right? We're in the 900s.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wareham is 2,800 or so.
Phew.
So, and I mean Falmouth is right around Wareham, and they're at 4,800 or so. So, I haven't heard any pushback from us raising the fees in Wareham.
So, and again,
And I,
I believe the money does get used. It doesn't just go into a vault for a rainy day for Concom. It's, and again, I'm gonna use the
It's used for
recent
what?
planning board experience of, we talked to council about it. And you can't arbitrarily raise the fees. There has to be some sort of a connection to what's going on. And so Lakeville now has a town planner and the clerical staff for that, there was a pay increase. So all those costs of, say, site plan review or a definitive subdivision plan, those costs incrementally went up. We could raise those, and the justification is we have staff. And it's not gonna offset the costs, but, you know, so if you have now $125,000 in staff fees, costs.
But you can use fees for that?
the Wetland
Yeah,
Protection Act
yeah.
calls out that you cannot use fees for staff. Our staff is funded, I know, because I'm the one who put it on the budget originally,
Right.
because we never did have money for staff.
That seems
Um,
counterproductive.
But,
Well, we'll look into it.
well, that's all I'm saying, and what are these numbers on the second page, is my other question.
I didn't know there was a second page.
23-1, 23-2, 23,
That's a deposit.
These look like they are, the shared state versus town for the notice of intents. If I had to take a guess. Well, no, number 4 would be for maybe an RDA.
It looks like
Or a
January
notice of
deposits
intent.
that we've done.
No,
So
that's just reflects what our fees that we've collected over the past year.
it
Over
looks
the-
like, no,
over
it
the
says
past-
Well, that
23,
can't-
or the
that's
past
23,
month.
that can't be it either.
I think that the left side is the date, the right side is the
And
amount.
Jamie's not
for
even
each
under here,
deposit.
and his fee was
One a
just
day?
$500.
One a day consecutively, Sundays too?
You don't think that happens?
I think the number is,
Something else?
the date, not the date, nothing to do with date, that's just
Yeah.
the number of, it's transaction number 5.
Okay.
Oh, all right, yeah. So the first 10 deposits in January.
In 2023, yeah?
Is that fiscal 2023? Is that where it comes from? Did fiscal 2023 start in July?
No.
Should start.
Oh, so that would be July, August, September?
So that's
No.
all we've collected this year?
I I'm
Yeah.
shooting in the dark on
We'd
that.
have to ask,
We all are.
Just seemed-
Well,
yeah.
we'd have to ask Lori.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can we get some clarification
Yeah,
on that
exactly.
and
Let me
some
look into it.
clarification on what we can use
The money
the
for,
wetland
was
yeah,
legit.
And make sure
it's
that
in the
goes,
statute,
yeah,
you must
Yeah.
know that.
make sure that
I
goes
know
on the
it's somewhere, I
agenda.
don't know it
Right,
off
I
the
don't
top of
either,
my
that's
head.
why I'd like a little time to have more
Oh, yeah, I
facts.
didn't mean to do,
Yeah.
to resolve anything tonight, it's just to get the thought rolling.
I'm just curious, the thought process of not allowing us to offset the budget number.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
Why
seems
not?
like it would make sense.
Right.
it just seems to make
Saves the
sense.
town money.
I mean, I think the statute on what the planning board could do is
You
different
can't
from the-
use it on legal fees. I know that
I
that's
know
a
that,
fact. You
yeah.
can't hire an attorney with,
FEMA.
again, from planning board's perspective.
You can't, we
I
might
don't
be
think
able
the
to,
town can. I don't think so.
or we can hire consultants.
That means we're charging a
Yeah.
customer
That's right.
to get a lawyer against them. I think that that's what's not allowed.
Yeah,
It's a conflict.
that would be a conflict, but thank you.
Yes, but we're protecting the wet, like I say, it's kind of moot point until we actually see the statute, see what we have for money. So can we just put it on our next agenda? We'll have
Sure.
Plenty of time to look it up, so we have the really facts.
I'm pretty sure we have no money.
You're pretty sure we have no money?
Just in case the town runs out, we've got a slush
I'm
fund.
sure there's not some mystery Concom account that from day one, just
That's good.
thousands have been going into it and nobody knows about it. I'm sure it's been spent and it just gets taken for something else.
There is a separate
Yeah.
conservation publications account in my late wife's name.
That's true too.
And that's for the library use to buy
So we bought a lot of books.
materials.
That's a fixed.
Materials for, conservation and natural collection of documents.
It's easy enough, we'll get a
But
printout
that
from
doesn't
Todd.
come generated from our fees,
No.
not from the fee schedule.
Separate,
Right.
yeah.
All right, we'll look into it then.
Well, let's find this mysterious
Yeah.
account.
But if I'm not here next meeting,
And we get postcards from Brazil.
Some beach.
yeah, Brazil,
I
no.
don't think you wanna go to Brazil right now.
All right, how about, some, minutes?
I have reviewed the minutes with our secretary. I see no omissions or creations of anything
No,
accurate.
it's Gold star for them?
Yeah, make a motion that we accept the minutes of the October, is it 11th, 2022 meeting?
Okay, that's a motion?
Yep.
All in fa,
Second.
second, rather, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Before everybody runs off, let me, quiz our two senior members.
Uh-oh, memory functions.
We
Ready for this,
had,
Nancy?
He already kind of started it, about a late night meeting, or a large RDA,
oh, no,
no?
well, sort of. We have a request for a certificate of compliance for the subdivision that's off of Freetown Street. You know where Baker is?
Yeah, Baker Lane,
Yeah,
Freetown Street,
Freetown Street, Howland,
Howland Road, Baker Lane's off of Howland.
Baker and Hazel. All right, the request that came in from the lawyers was for a certificate of compliance for 4 Hazel. So, and they gave us a file number, I forget what it is, I think it's 290. So when Lori went and looked it up, she came up with an order of conditions and a certificate of compliance for 43, thank you, how are you guys? For 43, Hazel. Shouldn't have done it.
They've owned the house for a long time. Goes back this far, right?
Oh, that's an early number.
So anyway, it looks like there's 2 lots under one file number. So what's your recollection of that?
No,
You know how sometimes we have like an umbrella, we have a conservation, order of
it always
conditions,
happens on a subdivision,
like on Ebony.
okay?
That's a good
Right,
example.
yeah.
There's one certificate of compliance for the entire project, and there are individual certificates for small individual lots.
Yeah.
Same thing happened in, LeBaron.
Yes,
We approved the
settlement.
actual subdivision,
The settlement did happen
the
too. yeah.
road construction and everything, and then we took lot by lot, depending on the impact of the wetlands, we took them individually.
so either it's something like that, or there's just a mistake in in naming the lot number. It's 43 Baker?
You said
Yeah, I think it is Baker,
Baker Lane?
yeah.
Well, sometimes the lot number, that drove us crazy. The
It's
lot
just-
number
The lot
differs
numbers
from the
don't-
house
From the
number.
house number, the street number.
The lot numbers don't match either. That's what makes me wonder if in fact it's two separate lots.
Typically, if you go to the assessor's numbers,
The lot block and map block.
map block and lot,
Yeah.
you can
Do we have-
sort stuff out.
Do you have a plan for the road?
I didn't see one. I went through the
Because if we have
file.
one for the road,
Yeah. You know how
Show
Baker
all-
Lane is kind of like a horseshoe?
right?
And then
yeah.
Hazel connects the two ends.
Yeah.
Uh,
So somebody trying to sell a house
yeah.
and needs a certificate of compliance?
So I told the lawyer, I said, we can do one of two things. We can either, just say, yeah, go ahead, it covers the work that was done. The work was done, the property is, the work is complete, the property is in good shape. I don't have any issue with the work that was done.
Yeah.
So either we just let it go, or we issue a second certificate of compliance with the revised address. So she was gonna go back to the lawyers and see what they say.
My question is, about when was this issue, this order of conditions, I mean, certificate of compliance issue?
2010?
2010, so not that long ago, okay. I thought you were gonna say, 1982 or something.
Was it recorded?
Yes,
It was.
One of the reasons I've always insisted for many years, make sure the engineer gets a copy to record, because if you put it to the homeowner, it typically ends up in a drawer. They don't, more now they will go and get it recorded. They'll just forget about it until it comes time to sell the house, and then we get the panically letter at 2:30 on a Thursday afternoon, and the closing's at 9 the next morning.
What did the lawyer have?
Yeah, what do you have?
He must have had some kind of paperwork if he's saying they need an order of conditions too.
I don't know what he's got for paperwork, but he gave us those two things. The address for Hazel
And the file number.
and a file number and what else did he give us? No, just those two,
For Azel Road,
And actually,
AZEL?
I went digging in the file
Yeah,
and, actually,
are you sure it's
Lord.
4?
4 Hazel is what they gave us. 43 Baker is what we have on file.
I
And
It'll
just-
connect somewhere along the
There's
line.
also a certificate of compliance for Howland Road.
Howland Road?
Yeah,
but it comes out onto Howland Road.
I know, that's,
There's a lot,
or
have
East,
a,
East
Both of them
Howland.
do, Baker Lane and
Is there an East
Hazel,
Howland?
right? They both come out onto
there's not
Howland
an
Road.
East Howland that I know
No. Yeah, there is on the paperwork.
of.
So, just so you know what's going on.
Okay, can we make sure that ends up, well, we'll take care of that on the next meeting, but
If we have to issue another certificate, yeah, we're gonna have to vote on it.
we wanna have it on the agenda.
I'll let you
No,
know.
I'm looking at that Azel
Yeah,
and Halcyon. There's wetlands on 3, 5, and 7 Azel, but that 43 Baker, there's no wetlands near it.
no, there isn't. Well,
Might have
There
something to
is,
do with
but
the
no.
drainage system to it, because sometimes we'll get a letter
It could
from,
have been-
a request from an attorney that
It was connected to the subdivision
connected to the
approval.
subdivision, so he's always nervous about that,
yeah, it's the roadway.
yeah.
I was gonna say, the roadway, we had that
That's-
problem in the settlement a
And the
lot.
settlement, oh, a lot, yeah.
Were those roads accepted by the town?
I'm going to,
Yes.
I would
I'm going
say
to
yes,
assume
but I'm-
long ago, yeah.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I would say that in itself would constitute completion.
What would be
If it
ideal
went to town
is
meeting and we voted on
if
it.
there is an umbrella order of conditions, that it listed the individual lots, also known as 43 Baker or 4 Hazel or,
Right, because they change them as soon as they occupy them, they give them a street number
Yeah.
instead of a lot number.
And they did that.
And they don't
They
ever
did that
concur.
on this project as well.
Yeah, they never
Changed-
match up, yeah.
They did it on my house when I bought my lot. All right, well, not to, confuse the issue, but,
Well, you can always, the town has an account to look up stuff at the registry too. If we need to, it's been recorded, otherwise,
well, let the lawyers do it, right? All right, the sign,
That's signed.
anything else? Anybody else?
Got anything
Motion to
you need us to
adjourn.
sign, John?
I like that one.
You got anything you want us to sign?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?